ready.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of Hamilton City Council for September 14th, 2022. A little after 6 o'clock, we're here in City Council Chambers, 345 High Street in Hamilton. Roll call, please.
Moeller,
Present.
Pullman,
Present.
Fear,
Present.
Vaughn, Ryan,
Here.
Nab,
Present.
Lauer.
Present. Is there a motion to excuse Councilmember Vaughn for reasons known to City Council?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Fear. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. Let's start off with an offering of prayer by Vice Mayor Michael Ryan, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able.
Lord, let us live each day in the most loving ways, the God-conscious way. Let us serve all who are in need, regardless of race, color, or creed. Lord, please continue to guide our city council, our management teams with the decisions we make to better our city. Please continue to protect our police officers and our firefighters and keep them out of harm's way. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have several special presentations. We're going to start off with the Home and Garden Awards. Ann?
Hello.
Hi.
I have a lovely lady who became a widow fairly recently with her beautiful yard that stood out. Janice McKinsey.
It is
Come on
nice.
up.
You get to come up here.
Come up here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, you want to tell us about this one, Ann?
Well, it's a beautiful yard, and she's got these beautiful plants hanging over her porch, and then this whole side yard is just, as you can see, it's just meticulous. And it just stands out in the neighborhood she's in. So there's my son.
That is beautiful. So tell us about it a little bit. Take a lot of work or,
Yeah, I just buy stuff and put it up there every year. It's my little garden. It's my little ceremony, sanctuary, where I like to sit.
well, that is beautiful. Thank you so very, very much. And you change the colors every year? Do you try to?
The flowers,
Yeah.
yeah, I try to.
That is really something. Everybody's taking my picture too. Everybody wants to do what you do. Now, along with that picture, again, thank you so much for being here to let us celebrate you. City of Hamilton, Ohio. This is certified that Janice McKenzie, 242 Walnut Street, is hereby awarded the certificate of recognition for receiving the September 2022 Home and Garden Appearance Award for her dedication to keeping the City of Hamilton beautiful. So as mayor, and acknowledged by all members of council. Thank you so very much. Anything else, Ann?
Thank you, and if you find one, let me know. The guy sitting next to me in the row wrote one out for me, so I'll go look at it next.
Great.
Yeah.
We're getting close to having enough pictures for a coffee table.
It's been a while.
Tell you what, we can put that on the website and just have
Yeah,
circulate. That is beautiful. Thank you so very, very much again.
but it's wonderful to see these people that care about our city so much, because I love our city.
Thanks for your dedication as well.
So, thank you.
All right.
Mayor,
Yes,
so our first special presentation, Mr. Kerry Rowe is here if you'd like to.
recognize it. Next, we have Carrie Rowe from Clark, Schaefer, and Hackett for our 2021 city audit.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. It's my pleasure to be with you again to discuss the 2021 financial statement and compliance audit of the city. Just first of all, I want to let you know that the audit report and the city's financials were submitted to the auditor state in June. Those have been accepted. Those are public documents available to your citizens now. The city also submitted their annual financial report to the Government Finance Officers Association for their award in financial reporting, excellence in financial reporting. It's our thought that they will once again qualify for that award. So, exactly what you would hope for. I want to give you just some high-level comments about the audit and then certainly answer any questions you might have. First and foremost, we are here to provide an opinion on the financial statements. And in our opinion, we believe the city's financial statements were fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in all material respects. That's what we call an unmodified or clean audit opinion, exactly what you would hope for from an opinion standpoint. As part of our audit, though, we're also required to do some compliance and internal control reporting as well. We have a second report we issue in accordance with government auditing standards. Those standards require us to evaluate the city's internal controls over financial reporting, as well as your compliance with laws and regulations that could have a direct and material effect on your financial statements. I'm pleased to say we did not note any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control, nor did we find material instances of non-compliance. So again, that report was kind of the boilerplate or standard government auditing standards report. And then finally, the last report we issue relates solely to the federal programs the city participates in. As you're all aware, there are a number of programs from the federal government that the city participates in each year. There are strings attached to those. We are required to do a compliance audit. And so we did test two of the federal programs here at the city, the CDBG program, as well as the state and local fiscal recovery fund this year. And in our opinion, we believe the city has materially complied with all the laws and regulations in relation to those two programs. In addition, we also evaluated the internal controls over those programs. And again, pleased to say we found no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. And finally, I'll just conclude my comments with, want to let you all know that we did not have any disagreements with management, and our standards really define those as auditing, accounting, or reporting matters. In fact, we received excellent cooperation during the audit from everyone at the city. Certainly the finance director and his staff bear the brunt of the audit, but we do spend time in various departments throughout the city, and we received excellent cooperation. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the audit.
Any questions? I think you said all the right words, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dave Jones and your team for what they do, and hope they get the Award of Excellence again, or the Triple Crown, whatever they call it. Both. We want both. Yeah. We want both, Carrie.
All those things, absolutely. Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Next, we have a presentation by Pastor Shaquilla Matthews, Height Program. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here. Always appreciate the opportunity to be able to come and share about the program, and that we had another successful summer. We had the opportunity to be able to graduate 55 students from the program. So that in itself is just fantastic. So, but none of that is possible without great community support, volunteers, having so many fantastic people, some people that are even in this room today that have been consistent in the success of this program. And I'm just lucky and blessed to be able to just be a part of it. And so many great stories, so many great things we were able to accomplish this year. We were able to have financial literacy by First Financial. We were able to have a lot of group mentorship sessions with the kids. We were able to go on some amazing field trips like skating. We were able to go to the movies. We were able to go laser tag. We were able to go go-kart racing. So many first experiences for so many kids that otherwise don't have the opportunities to do such things. So to be able to offer that to them free of charge, give them a program to be a part of, Tuesday through Friday, 8:30 to 2:30 is just fantastic. And the fact that these kids, they want to be there. Most of the times they beat me there. And so, which was great just to see their excitement about having something positive to do. Because when you think about summertime, you think like, okay, I just want to stay home. I just want to be, in the bed, chilling on my phone, doing whatever. But the fact that you got these kids showing up every day, ready to work, ready to be a part of their community. And on Fridays is one of the biggest days for me is that I'm excited about because it's our community engagement day. So that's typically the day where we go out. We are able to partner with the Cube, and they come out. They supply all our gear that we need for the program, the gloves, the bags, and even the discarding of trash that we pick up. And on average, we cover about 3 miles of walking in the heat in the summer to clean up in different neighborhoods around the community. And it's so great when we're out there because you have so many people that are waving at the kids and they're honking their horns and telling them a good job. And some of the kids, when they first started out in the program, they were like, I don't really want anybody to see me. So you see them out, they got their hoods on. They don't want nobody to see them out because they're kind of embarrassed. But then it became a thing where they became proud of what they were doing and began to take a lot of, pride about the work that they were doing and helping someone else. And like I said, again, we had one lady in the neighborhood. She came out, she's passing out bottles of waters to the kids and talking to them, asking them about, their future and their next. So it was just experiences like that we're able to have these kids. And from this program, we had 9 different neighborhoods represented in our program throughout the city. So obviously we have 17 neighborhoods. We had 9 represented in the program. So it's just great to have kids from all different walks of life, from all different parts of the city, be a part of such a program that for me, I'm very biased. I think HYPE is the best program in the world, and I think it should be duplicated in every city, in every country, every continent. But that's just me though. So, but I definitely wanted you to have, I appreciate that. But I definitely wanted you to hear from me because I could sit here and go on for days and make this council session go on for months talking about HYPE. But now you're here, Lotus. So Lotus has been a part of the program, so I want just to hear from her experience with being a part of the program.
Hi, I'm Lotus Emerson. So I got to join HYPE in April, so I got a little before the summer program too. And I just want to say it really is awesome. I think everywhere should have one for sure. She's not exaggerating. The field trips were super fun. Roller skating is not our strong suit though. We're not starting a skating team. And she was right. In the beginning, everyone was like, oh, we're gonna go pick up trash. That kind of, I don't wanna do that. But then at the end, we were competing to see who could get more trash in our trash bag at the end of the day. And it was so fun. And we got a meal every day, we got breakfast, and everyone became really good friends. It's probably my favorite program I've ever been a part of, and that's saying a lot because I'm a senior, or I've graduated, and it's pretty awesome. And on top of that, everyone started off kind of rough. We weren't all really friends. There was actually a little bit of competition at the beginning about who were we gonna be friends with, who were we not gonna be friends with. But at the end, everyone was friends. And so I got to meet people that I'd never even known. I was new to Hamilton at the beginning of all of it, and now I have friends from all over the place. I go out and they've seen me or I've seen them before and they're like, hey. So it's just a really good community building program.
So, so those are the things that we don't even per se plan to happen, but those are the things that happen because again, you're blending teenagers that some of them have met for the first time in the first encounter, and they're like you said, they're standing off. Everybody's in their own little pods by themselves, sitting off, and then you'll see the next moment they're the best of friends. You can't get them away from each other. So we also had the opportunity to visit other businesses. We were able to have lunch at Richard's Pizza, Alexander's Deli. We were able to go to the police, the union, go to their hall. They had lunch for us. We were able to have a great presentation. Councilmember Lauer, he was there with us, was able to speak with the kids and share about it. So it was just so many great experiences that the kids were able to see their city, their community, and just be able to see that this is a great city to be in. Again, it's just one of those things that I'm just glad to be a part of and have our kids exposed and have the experiences that they're able to have with this program. We're going on 7 years strong, and I'm looking for 70 more. But I won't be leaving. I'll be somewhere in the islands and so. Nonetheless, but plug to Ms. Janice and her beautiful yard. She was one of the ladies that catered for our, one of the great meals. Mr. Mayor, you definitely remember that great meal that we had
That
on
graduation.
graduation.
Great.
So yeah, it's just those types of community connecting points that are fantastic and that these kids will never forget. You know what I mean? And then when they walk by and see how beautiful his yard, it's like, oh, that's the lady that cooked our meal. So it's just those connections that are great and that you just don't forget when you're a kid. Those are some of the things that were foundational principles in my life that kept me. So I'm excited about that and to be leading and spearheading that. So again, so thank you to the city for partnering with us and allowing this program to be successful this year. Thank you to so many community partners that are here in this room that have been phenomenal with the success of Hype. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to always come and speak and share about Hype. So if you guys have any questions or, comments or, I don't know, whatever you got.
I'll say thank you because you are synonymous with Hamilton. I mean, you as a person, but also your programs are. I mean, that's that Hype program, that's Hamilton. That job mentoring program, that's Hamilton. So thank you, because I know Local 12 was, I think, at your graduation, or was that?
9.
9.
Yep.
9 was there. They interviewed every single graduate, and your graduates, your speaking representatives were so intelligent and motivated.
Yes.
It was great.
Proud of them.
It was great.
Very proud of them. Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Any questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, please.
Pastor Shack, I appreciate the fact that you target a age group that gets missed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen some of the students that you have had come through, and I admire you for all your efforts in working with those students. I've seen one gentleman back there. I'm very hopeful for his success. He is such a pleasant young man, and the kid, you take on some at-risk kids at times, and you give them an opportunity, and I appreciate that. So, and I appreciate all the work that you do with the school board and everything. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Again, it's always an honor to come up here and speak with you guys and share about the program. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich, did you want to show your GS slides? Pastor Shack, did you have slides you wanted to show?
I did have some pictures. I'm not sure if they came up or not.
Let's take a look at a few of them.
We're getting ready to go out and clean up. That's the cube days. That's us cleaning up right across from here. Right over there. One pink shirt from another. That's all. That's one trash pickup. One pickup. We also had STEM. We blew up a Coke bottle with Mentos in it. Listen, they asked me in STEM. They said, "Well, what kind of projects would you like to see? Can we blow stuff up?" And they made it happen. They made it happen. Some of our volunteers. That was her skating. And it takes a lot. It's like feeding them a small army when we feed them. Shout out to Hamilton City Schools that provided transportation along with Pastor Wendell from Dream Center. So many great people. I can go on and on. That's when we went to Hugs. That's when we went down to the pantry. We were in the second ward cleaning up. We got Reese cups from the pantry. Taco Bell. Small army. Mentoring sessions. We were at Serve City with Jeff Gambriel giving us a tour on their pantry. What goes on there when we're at the Union. We were able to go to Swookie and have a tour there in the convention. So that was great. The kids really enjoyed that. To be able to have that opportunity to go in there, considering they pass it all the time, to be able to go in was great. It's a great experience. Mr. Dan Bates, appreciate him and all his help with getting that together and taking us on that tour and taking us on a city tour and showing us some of the new projects here that are coming. So that was a great opportunity for them to kind of be in the know of what's going on in their city. Yep, that was them. That was a robot that we built in our STEM on Wednesdays. Pies, providing pie for graduation. I started my day with pie. 2 types. the banana cream, my faves.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, engineering projects update with Rich Engel.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens of Hamilton. It's our monthly update of what's going on with traffic and street resurfacing. I thought I'd give you a little more detail this time on our traffic signal system project update. We have 70 non-priority intersections, and many of those had to have handicap ramp improvements. We're 95% complete on that. We just have a couple more left to do. All of our traffic signals will be hooked into our fiber optic cable system. Right now, we have a lot of our traffic signals hooked into very, very old copper wire system. So this will give us a better network for immediate response when there are issues at our traffic signals. And as I said, we'll have a tour of our facility down at the garage in the near future when that's when we get more of our traffic signals operational. In addition, the EMS, the emergency response safety, the safety vehicles, fire and police, they'll have preemption such that if they are heading towards an emergency, they'll have green lights all the way to the emergency, even if they're turning. This is going to be a cellular system, so each of the vehicles have to have devices installed in the vehicle. The fire vehicles are complete and the police vehicles are underway. Our traffic management center office is 100% complete, and the signal hardware, camera installation, and signal cabinets are about 5% complete on the non-priority intersections. On the priority intersections, the 27 we've talked about previously, all of the signal hardware, the camera installation, and the signal cabinets are 100% complete. The software installation is also 100% complete, and we are having to put in temporary cellular communications. That's about 50% complete, and once that's complete, then we'll be able to go operational, and we anticipate that to happen by early October. After that does happen, we are going to operate the system for at least 30 days prior to instituting any changes to our traffic signal system. We'll keep you informed on that process as well. Also, we have some other projects ongoing with our traffic engineering. The Park Avenue ramp pedestrian crossing, the signal hardware and the concrete sidewalk are complete. You've probably seen the pole and the span installed already. The signal equipment is expected to be delivered by the end of this month, and then we hope and anticipate it to be operational by October 8th, so that people can cross on the north side of High Main Bridge over to B Street without having to go under the bridge or cross dangerously across the Park Avenue ramp. In addition, we're also working on the Williams and Neyland traffic signal rebuild. That's scheduled to be operational by the end of this year. And the Main and E traffic signal, it's a new signal being installed. That's scheduled to be operational by early 2023. I'd like to note in this instance, all of these projects, these three projects, the material is the cost associated with the project. We are using our traffic signal crew to do the actual installation and the wiring and the operation of it. So we're saving about half the cost of a typical rebuild by using our crews to do so, in addition to their normal operational work that they do as well. Just an update on the concrete repair and resurfacing. The work on the Leo Drive and Sanders Drive and those streets in that area, everything is complete except for the final resurfacing, and we're waiting for that to be scheduled. I've mentioned before council that the paving is really difficult at times because we're nearing the end of the construction year. The paving companies are stretched thin trying to get all the rest of their work done, so we have to get them scheduled in as when we can and when they're available. So we anticipate that to happen yet this year. Also on the other project, the Diana Drive, and in that vicinity, and the E, F, and Gray Avenue, the catch basins are complete out in the Diana Drive, Greer Court, Cameron Place, that vicinity. And as soon as the concrete work gets completed on the E, F, and Gray, the contractor's crew will be moving out to that other area to begin concrete work. We don't anticipate any resurfacing to be done this year. It'll be early next spring. And then lastly, I've also mentioned previously about the project that's going to be happen yet this year. It's a combined water main replacement and resurfacing project in the West Fairway vicinity. That project will be advertised and bid yet this fall. We're waiting to see how the pricing is looking on our contractors, potential contractors, and the material. So we want to advertise that while contractors are still lining up their work for 2023. Are there any questions on this presentation?
Any questions? Thank you, Rich.
Yeah. We're going to move into the train depot presentation next. So we were able to finally get the insurance straightened out with Kuhn Restoration and CSX. We were able to get that accomplished last Friday. I met with Kuhn Restoration personnel Tuesday morning, and we're going to get them, they're going to have crew starting next Monday to begin the bracing of the windows and the doorways, and also to start the removal of the tin ceiling. And they're going to actually palletize the tin ceiling panels as they take them off, mark them as to where their location was, and then shrink wrap them for storage. So I'm going to be out there next week and make sure that they're doing what they've said they're going to do. We haven't determined what the final schedule yet. They had told me previously that it was going to be 2 weeks. I want to talk to the superintendent that's going to be on site and make sure that he thinks he can meet that deadline. I'm also working with Vickers Demolition at the moment with getting them scheduled. Maybe I can get them in while Kuhn Restoration is still working. I'm working through that. And I've also been in contact with Wolf House Movers to try and get them alerted that they're going to be asked to come in the near future as well. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention about that. Oh, I also want to point out that once we finally were able to determine the right personnel at CSX, they were very, very helpful in getting us through this insurance issue. We were actually having the insurance agents talk directly to the CSX people, and they were able to resolve any and all of their issues pretty quickly once they were able to get that arrangement once that happened. Are there any questions on the train depot relocation?
Questions?
No.
Okay. Thanks again for all your hard work on that, Rich.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to go to audience of citizens. Individuals who wish to make comments may make comments during this part of the agenda, or they may reserve the right to speak when an item is up for vote on the council floor. You've got folks who have signed the book, and each speaker is allowed up to 5 minutes. But the first person is almost like a special presentation. That's Anne Marie. You're special. You're all special, but didn't get you up in the middle part, but you're first in this part.
I'll do my best
You'll do great.
to trim it to 5 minutes. Okay. I just wanted to say first that I'm extremely grateful for the invitation to come speak to all of you. I think I know most of you. If I don't know you, I'm Anne Marie Silly. I'm the owner of the Casual Pint here in Hamilton. I think I've seen most of you, if not all your faces, in with us. Again, this is a really special opportunity to come share something that we've been working on that's a tremendous passion for us. But Mr. Mayor, I wanted to mention first, I wanted to kick it off with 3 words that you said were very important to you yesterday. Opportunity, solutions, and thank you. I'm going to use those 3 words to link in because I know that they are important to you. But the first one I want to start is solutions. And I want to kick off, I want to say right off the bat that this is actually not a problem-solving effort. Women's support here in Hamilton is not a problem. I don't think I've ever been anywhere where I have felt more supported as a business owner, as a contributor, and as a leader here. So this is actually more about your first word, opportunity. And there's a lot of us who have come together in its purest form, I guess. The Badass Women's Month is a citywide effort. It's a citywide collaboration to strengthen and build women's wellness here in Hamilton. And that's physical, mental, spiritual, financial, and physical safety wellness. And it really is a collaboration spearheaded by several, and I mean several, badass women of Hamilton, several of which are in this room and have been part of the spearheading, and several of which were recruited on the way into this room because I have not gotten that far down on my to-do list yet. So let me jump in with what it is. And I figured we could start with the definition, make sure we're all on the same page with what I mean by badass. I don't mean rebellion, and I don't mean disrespect in any stretch by the word. What I mean is action. People who are known for getting stuff happen, whether it's here in Hamilton or beyond. People who refuse to quit, and we certainly have seen enough hardship in the last few years, but resiliency, I believe, is another word one of you 2 used yesterday in Leadership Hamilton, and one who takes action in spite of fear and in the face of fear. And there are a lot of badass women here in Hamilton. I'm very proud to be up here representing all of them, or at least the ones that I've had the pleasure to get to know. This is about tapping into that vast network and to shine a light on several issues and several opportunities. So how it started, it's a grassroots effort, truly. This is something that started around a table in the Casual Pint. Wendy Waters Cannell, the executive director of the YWCA, asked me if we could take our April efforts to support the Dove House and move them to October. Well, October, if you guys know that we do a charitable organization of the month. And October is breast cancer awareness, both of which are very, very large efforts for us at the Pint. Not the easiest thing to do when we say, hey, can we combine these things into October? So it was a little bit of a cause for pause for me to step back and say, how can I do both of these things justice? Kind of threw that caution to the wind and said, you know what, screw it. We are going to put it all together. We're going to go all in October in the spirit of all things women. So like the women that we are and the women that we want to serve and to help develop, we set out to create something pretty badass, and I think we're knee deep in it already. We're calling this year Badass Strength in Numbers. So our primary goal is truly to bring as many women together. And Carla, I'm looking at you because you're on that to-do list as well to contact. But really our primary goal is to bring people together, build connections, discover stories. Every person has a story, and create lasting impact. We know how hard it is sometimes for women to tell their stories, to know their stories, tell their stories, and live their stories. And that's definitely one of our goals. So at its heart, the Badass Women's Month is a series of events. And we're not done yet. This calendar is full, but it's not as full as we know it can be. There are flagship events that we have created, meaning the steering team, the businesses, the organizations, the city leaders, et cetera, that I have recruited. And there are also events that were already happening in October that were focused on women leaders, women's efforts. So we're just doing our best to use Jim Goodman's words, rising tide lifts all ships. We've done that in the hospitality business here in Hamilton, and we're going to do it with the women across Hamilton next. So we've got flagship events, we've got collaborations, and I'll call it a collation of things. Our goal is to be as inclusive as possible. So again, we are still recruiting and we are still bringing new stuff in. But a key theme that you're going to hear through most of this is so what? We want action. We want women to take action on behalf of themselves, on behalf of their organizations and businesses, and on behalf of Hamilton. You know, we want this to be something that truly grows Hamilton. But we need your help. And the biggest place where we could ask for your help is getting involved. So we do have an opportunity for more events and presence. So if you have suggestions, if you have people that we think we should connect with, if you think I need to bring Carla to the pint and we'll brainstorm a little bit, we're gonna do that. Please help spread the word. We have a web page, we have a QR code to make it easy to get to that web page. That web page has all the events, it's got all the registration links, you name it. We're trying to do this as technologically savvy as I can possibly be in any given day. Pick a few events to attend. Click on a few of those links to see which ones make sense for you. We'd love to have your face, your support, and just your words at all of them. And then we intend for this to be an annual thing, so please help us make 2023 bigger and better. I truly, truly want next year to be even more strategic, more goal-oriented, more just bigger. And if I can take a couple of extra seconds, I want to close on this picture. This is a bracelet that my kids gave me for my birthday this year. I wear it now every day, but my 17-year-old son had no idea what it is that I'm pulling together here. This is a bracelet that he honestly saw in a store and he bought for me. He said, Mom, I got this for you because A, it's a word you use a lot. He's not lying. But he said, this is also who you are. And it, as a parent, for my child to see me in that light was indescribable. But as a woman especially, I mean, honestly, it's a little knee buckling. And I want every woman, at least every woman who wants to feel that way and wants to be recognized as someone who takes charge, makes change, is not afraid to act, takes a little bit of risk on behalf of others. I want every woman to feel that. Maybe I'd love to be able to buy everybody that bracelet. It's not going to happen. But I want everybody to feel that. And that truly is our metric for this year. So how will we know when we're successful? We get a few people that come up and tell us this is how they feel. As a result, we'll be good. So thank you.
Please.
Oh, Carla?
So what is the website? I'm trying to find it here right now, so.
It is actually a Google site. It is long, and if it's okay, I'm gonna email it. I can actually send it to all of you.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, and the easier way is if you can go back to, just use that QR code. If you go back to the presentation, that QR code in the bottom right, those will be bookmarks, actually, that we will be handing it out. We'll have it on the bars, we will have it in the retail shops, etc. But that QR code will take you right to the website. I hope that would make things a little bit easier for folks. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you
Who are
guys.
some of your business partners in this?
Who are some of my business partners in this? We have Sonia, so I'll talk the steering team. Sonia Cranbill from the Fort Hamilton Hospital Foundation, Wendy Waters-Cannell, and Dawn Thurman from the YWCA, Sam Starkey from Healthy Hideout, Lisa Sandlin, Liz Hayden has been part of the steering team a bit. Who else? Candace Jones, who is a financial advisor. The list is actually Katie Braswell from the Hamilton Community Foundation has been and the steering team it started with 4 of us and it has grown significantly and we want it to grow even more. But Laura Goodman has jumped in with all sorts of ideas. It's a long list, actually, so.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, thank you.
We're going to move one group up. Jane Jacobs here.
Joshua, I would just like to commend you on 12 fabulous years at our city. And you've done so much. It's 12 stellar years. And I mean, I feel like what else could we hope for? Just one thing. Just give the people what they want. The Red Lobster.
Did you bring rolls by chance?
I did not. We're not going to get them until we get the Red Lobster.
Mr. Mayor, may I,
Comments.
I address the crowd? Ever since Bill Darden opened the first Red Lobster in Lakeland, Florida in 1968, and as Darden Company grew through the 1990s, the Red Lobster obviously is very ubiquitous across the United States, and I know the passion in Hamilton to have one. I just want the group to know that Golden Gate Capital that bought Red Lobster in 2014 I have called their corporate office in Orlando, Florida. I have emailed, I've not even said this to James because I didn't want to feed the fire, but I have harassed them for at least 3 years now for a Red Lobster. The best I've ever gotten was a 1-sentence email saying it'll be considered with no response. But literally, it took me about 30 minutes to realize what the shirts were saying. I thought they were all here at the Anne Marie tonight. I didn't realize until someone sent me a text like, what's going on with all these lobsters? And I was like, then it started clicking in my head. Oh, Matt Fearman and Jane Jacobs are here tonight. I know what's going on. But so I sent Golden Gate Capital another email saying that my job may be on the line if they don't return my phone call and actually talk to me about a Red Lobster location in Hamilton, Ohio.
Can you send this picture to them?
Oh, hold on, let me zoom in. I want to take one more. I took it. Let me zoom in just a little bit.
That's funny.
I like all the people that are trying to avoid being in the picture, but got it.
No. Thank you.
Great to have a fan club, isn't it, Joshua?
Yes. Listen, I know that my tenure here will be very short unless we somehow produce a Red Lobster in the next 12 months, but
Get it done. Okay.
Jim, you know what they're talking about. The Red Lobster.
All right, next we have Dan Hancock.
It's been a while for us, too.
My name's Dan Hancock. I live at 67 Herman Avenue in Hamilton, Ohio. Today on TV Hamilton this morning, I was on TV Hamilton for the Board of Education. I went there to represent seeing about putting a park at the end of Mark Avenue, and the board was very receptive. They said that they do not intend to use that land anymore, and it's one of 3 sites that they have that they'd like to get rid of, and that they're waiting for the city of Hamilton to get back with them and that to see about pursuing for the city to make a park out of it. And like I said, we can make a park out of it, put some baseball diamonds in there, some soccer fields, and put a dog park in there for the people up in that area. And also the city of Hamilton running club would like to put a running track around it. So, I mean, it could be a very used park in that for the city and that. And I think, like I said, the city needs to get with the board like I did, and they're waiting for your call to get with them and see about what you can work out to make it a park.
Well, thanks for helping to get the ball rolling on this. Let's talk about it as a city administration, and
Yeah, like I said,
we'll make
I was
you part of the
on there this morning and that,
team.
for everybody to see in that, and put my 2 cents worth in to make it a park.
Thank you for bringing up the idea, attending meetings or watching them online, and we'll see what city administration can do.
Yep. And the other thing is on Eaton Avenue and that, there's a sign there that says, "Do not block the intersection." Josh told Rich Engel 6 months ago in that to see about putting flashing lights around it to not block the intersection. As of today, 6 months later, we don't have no lights flashing around it, but we do now have one on Main Street with flashing lights around it. So, you know, how come they can put it up there that quick and they can't on Eaton Avenue? Because like sometimes at noontime or during rush hour, people crowd through there and they won't let you in or out of the intersection there. And, you know, it would be helpful both for people coming in and out of that thing there to have the lights flashing so they know, hey, you know, don't block the intersection.
I'm sure that's being considered and thought about.
We'll get it done.
There you go.
We'll get it done.
So.
It'll get done.
And the other thing is, we got a lot of speed bumps around the city now. They dig up for water main or gas main and that, and they fill, when they get done, they fill the hole back up. They have a truck with the blacktop, they pour it over it, and then the truck backs over it to pack it down with the truck with the asphalt, and now you got a speed bump in that. And on Mark Avenue, you got 3 of them there, and on Hermé, you got 2 of them on Hermé, and you got 1 on Schultz. And I'm sure there's more of them around the city where instead of leveling it out, I know it, takes some time to do it, but some of these have been there for weeks now, So, we need to get involved and start, when you do the job, take a stamper there and stamp it down that, because when you go across them, your car jolts up and down in that, and, you can take your front end shocks and knock them loose in that. So, and I've got a lot of complaints from the people in the area there that would like to see something done about it.
I'm sure there's a process we're working on to get that done.
Yeah,
to improve it at least.
If you want me to address that just very briefly.
If you would, please.
Actually, I was in a meeting probably about 3 hours ago with Edwin Porter and Nathan Perry and actually Dave Jones too, talking about many issues, and this was one of them. We did hire 2 workers that actually come behind the crews that do the finish work, if you will. I understand how annoying the temporary patches are, but with all the activity that we've had, they're probably, would you say, about 6 weeks behind? About 6 weeks? Yes. So we'll take a look and see if there's something we can do that's maybe a better temporary fix in the short term, but we are working very diligently to catch up to some of the open cuts that we've had to make in many of our city streets.
Well, like I said, when they're doing it, they have a little stamper that they can pull down, and stamp it down right there and that, they got a little machine that goes up and down that, which would level it, make it a lot, better, in the short term and that until you can fix it up for the permanent patch and that.
We'll certainly see if there's something that can maybe assist with that in the short term while we get to the longer term solution.
Yep. So. All right, I thank you very much, and like I said, I hope we can do something with that park.
We agree. Thank you, Dan. Jim Loneman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and Josh, whatever. Okay, I just want to comment on the resurfacing these streets. They're really good resurfacing the streets. But the thing is, those sewer lids still are, they should fix them sewer lids where they should be to our street level, because others are still lower than the street levels. The top parts.
We still have some of those around town. I'm sure you've given quite a few addresses to Rich to work on.
Yeah.
I'm sure Rich is working on them, and they'll get done.
Okay, I just want to check it too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Mark, is it last name Kaler? Kaler. What I thought. Good evening.
My name is Mark Kaler. I live at 2247 Mossy Grove in Hamilton. I have a couple questions. The first one I've asked, it was about 1.5 to 2 years ago. Beckett paper. It still looks like Little Beirut or Detroit. It's a mess. I was told then that there's somebody who wants to come in and do apartments. Is that correct?
Well, why don't you finish what you're saying? We'll try and give you some kind of an update.
Okay. What we've got is that area needs cleaned up very badly. We have scrub brush and small trees and junk like that grows along the building. They're as tall as that building now. That's pretty sad. Take a look out your window, you'll see them. Okay? I don't know who would be responsible, but somebody needs to clean this mess up. You've done such a good job with Spooky Nook. Matter of fact, I had the pleasure of being there a few weeks ago. If you ever want to see a group of old people have your 50th class reunion at Spooky Nook, you will see a lot of old people. Just didn't know who was going to be responsible for the cleanup on that.
Okay. Is there anything you can give us an update on, Mr. Manager?
I can, and I will personally apologize for the appearance, even with best of intentions in terms of timeline. That is something I actually drove by probably 3 days ago and had the very same thought that you did. So the property is going to be developed. Matter of fact, I had a meeting with the project architect out of Cleveland on that project last Thursday or Friday. Took a look at the plans. The current plans are to turn it into 256 market rate apartment units and preserve about 26,000 square feet for commercial activity on the first floor. The property is owned by the city currently. And I think that is where the some of the confusion came in. The property should have been transferred to the new owner by now. It's just that legal process has not taken place, and I will put together an action plan to. I mean, we're not going to make it look perfect, but we can certainly make it look better than what it looks today. And I do apologize.
That won't take much.
I know it won't take much, and it's
Okay.
you know, one of the problems, even at Champion Paper Spooky Nook, the number of people that are illegally on the property every night is incredible. And it's in an unsecure location like that, it's almost impossible to keep people off. If you notice, Spooky Nook actually leaves the outdoor field lights on all night long for that very reason, because they have so many unauthorized people on and off the property. So the biggest challenge in my mind is until the property is fully secured. I realize we can do the weeds, the grass, the easy stuff, and get that out, which would make it look a lot better in a very short period. The bigger challenge is securing the building for longer term and doing a better job of protecting it. But until we make that transfer to a private owner, it is our responsibility, and we will do a better job with that.
Okay, because I mean, there's piles of steel still in there, bricks, everything else from when they torn the building down 4 or 5 years ago. And it's unfortunately quite an eyesore for the city. We've done such a good job everywhere else. Okay, the other one I've got is basically at the intersection of West Elkton Road and Northwest Washington Boulevard. On West Elkton Road, as you come up the hill, there is supposed to be a painted marking on the street that says school. It is wore out. You can't read it. You can't see it at night. And if it's at all wet, you can't read it. This is a safety issue for the students that are there.
Let me send a quick email. Is that going northbound or southbound in West Elkton?
Northbound. Southbound, you're going away from the school. You don't need it. And it's only going to get harder and harder to do once Spooky Nook is fully open.
Got that off.
Now, is that the city's responsibility or school board?
Our city engineer.
Our city, okay.
City director of engineering at city.
Okay. Other than that, there are a few of them with city engineering department I'd like to thank. I've had some questions concerning traffic controls and things like that, and they have been very cooperative. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Adams.
Hello, sir. My name is Jason Adams. I got about 127 pages of law here, or a plan, whatever you guys want to call it, but it's the Pandemic Preparedness Plan. And each page is more questionable than the next. So I'm going to just start off, I'm not going to go over all of it because I don't have enough time, so I'm just going to go over a couple headlines of it. Excuse me. So state power. The federal government recognizes the power of the states to institute quarantine to protect their citizens from infectious diseases. Yes, isolation and quarantine is a function of state and police power, broad rights in establishing and enforcing quarantine, isolation and quarantine as arrests, authority of the Department of Health. It gives it supreme authority in matters of, emergency actions.
I think that you just said something that tells me that this is a State Department of Health.
It's city board. It's every state has a city that has a board of health. It's the Board of Health Authority. It's elected by boards. It's you guys are actually. I'm pretty sure you guys are establishing it right now for your city.
We have a health department.
Yes,
There's
and
a
that
county health department.
that
There's
is
the
all
State
going.
Department of
It's all
Health.
going to go down to the Board of Health. It's going to be that health. It's the broad delegation of it. It's
And we don't, as a group, pass.
you have to
legislation
vote.
or codes.
You have to vote on if you have to let it come into your city or not.
Well-
Yes, you do. And it also talks about how boards, when the stuff comes into motion, you guys will be moving from here to a different location when they go into an emergency action. It's all. I mean, it's all right here.
So what I'd like to do is, if you want to send that to me to take a look at, I'll send it to whomever in the city administration might be able to take a look at it. But that's something which we don't.
I mean, it's so far into it to where it's got hoodwinked, trials, fixed trials. This is
I do know
important
that
for
that
everybody
is
to see.
an issue that some people don't agree with what State Department of Health do and
It's
all.
not just the State Department, it's the City Department also, sir.
I'm not arguing with you, and I'm not gonna go.
You guys are
with you.
declaring emergencies tonight, right? Or
Non-emergencies that you're thinking of.
well, I mean, it's
No.
you're
We're
not
doing any health
elaborating
emergency
on the
tonight.
emergencies, and it doesn't elaborate where the emergencies are going. It gives no necessary revisions of it. None.
I will tell you right
whatsoever.
now, nothing on that agenda is a health emergency tonight. There are issues involving various financial decisions, property decisions.
Members
So,
of the board.
I'm just telling you right now, nothing is involving a health pandemic at this point in time. If there's something you want us to take a look at,
Well, it's not just the pandemic. It's all of it. It goes to mental health. It goes through all of it. I've got it all right here. I've got
you read a lot of
120
things. I mean,
I've
you're
got
a well-read person.
127 pages of it.
You're a well-read person, but there's nothing tonight on this agenda which has to do with health emergencies. And I know that can be a hot topic at times, but I'm just telling you right now. So I'm not even gonna argue with you about that because I looked at this very, very recently, looked at when we had emergencies on, and nothing has to do with true health pandemic issues.
Okay, so what about the charters and putting them in 800-foot distances that don't have to be necessary for a you guys can erect in multiple buildings that you guys anywhere you guys deem necessary as long as it's 800 feet and there's no necessary.
We follow basic building codes. We follow all kinds of state codes.
I
All I'm saying is-
understand the revisions like this, but there's also revisions that are this big all throughout it for sub-laws. There's sub-laws, there's bylaws, there's revised
I'm a
laws, there's
lawyer.
charters,
I
there's
know there's laws on
corporations.
top of laws, but I'm just telling you right now, tonight, nothing about what you're speaking involves the city of Hamilton. So I'm gonna ask you that we're just gonna move on, because it's after 7 o'clock right now. But if you want me to take a look at something or pass something along to our health department, I will do that. But tonight, there's nothing that you have spoken which involves pandemic or anything like that at all. These are financial decisions that we have to make tonight. We have city matters to
It
address
states
tonight.
in there that anywhere there's an emergency action declared, and this briefing talks about emergency
Jason,
actions.
I'm done because I know.
This is the part where I was talking about, where I sent you the email saying that there is no place for where you guys are at for lies, where there's secrets involved, because you give it up to the imagination of the people. When you give it up to the imagination of the people, they can come up with the wildest theories. This is no place for secrets, for lies, anywhere. You can make as many subsection laws that you want to, but there's right and there's wrong. And when you guys do wrong by your people, it's ridiculous.
You and I probably need to sit down and talk.
Yeah, I've been trying
compare
to
some notes.
get to this. I've been trying to talk to you so I didn't have to come in here and make a fool of myself.
You're not making a fool out of yourself. You're very thoughtful. You're well read. But for right now, we got city business to do. Some of the things you're talking about are more that could be state Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court issues as far as health emergencies and the like. So, but nothing what you mentioned is in our business, in our matters we can handle.
I understand that. When can we make it our business on it?
When I get through with all this docket and then tomorrow sometime, I'll sit down and I'll talk to you.
I understand you're a busy man. I do understand that.
Right.
I understand you guys are busy.
We'll sit down and talk in this room sometime.
Okay.
Fair deal?
Fair deal. Sounds
Thank
good.
you. Okay. And we got two more people, I believe. One is Barry Brewer.
I'll pass. We're running long.
Okay, Barry. Well, no, it's important. If you want to say something about.
I think everything's well run off.
Okay. If you want to contact any one of us here, feel free to do it. I think there's still business cards in the back, Daniel.
I do not know, but if there's somebody he needs to speak to, I can connect with them in this meeting.
Is this a financial matter you want to talk to somebody about? You mentioned on here raises.
Well, I'm
Yeah, I tell you, you're way in the back. If you want to talk to somebody about a financial matter, we have a finance director. He tackles a lot of issues, $1 zillion and less than that. But if Dave, could you,
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah,
I had a conversation prior to.
You
the
did?
meeting,
Okay,
yes.
good.
So I think if I'm correct, that we've had at least an initial conversation about some of his concerns, and I think that's why he's passing.
So the two of you could maybe think about what you've already talked about.
Yeah, that's great.
That'll work. Bob Harris.
Good evening to council and citizens of audience. Bob Harris, President of Southeast and Community Leader for the 2nd and 4th Ward. Good evening to everyone once again. I don't know, this has been pretty interesting this evening, but I'm just here, I want to say to council that I want to thank, those who have worked with Southeast and CAC this summer, and I think that we've made significant progress in some areas in dialing down the crime in the 2nd Ward this summer. Definitely want to thank Jim Rick Williams for all of the work that he's done with me for this year, and Scamezi, who makes sure that I'm taken care of and I stay healthy so I can, keep it going in the community. Definitely want to give a shout out to Councilman Lauer because he's been every step with me for the summer, although I have thought at times that he didn't believe what I told him, but he had to go find out for himself, and I like that. Love it. I do want to say, Councilman Lauer, to you, you managed to walk 7 miles with me, but you got a few more to go. Carla, I hear you laughing.
Fairfield.
But I think that you can beat Councilman Lauer. I think you can do more than 7 miles. However, you did stand me up for that date, and I still can't wait. So I'm looking forward to us. If we don't do the walk, if you don't take that challenge to beat Councilman Lauer, we can just we can have a sit-down talk, and then I want to move on to Councilman Ryan next, and then I'd like to get to Vaughn next. Then I'll reschedule for the rest of council. But I do want to say that CAC, which is the Community Action Committee, we have with the chief and Councilman Lauer, we've been meeting on the square, and every other week we've sponsored, cookouts on the square, and I think that we've made significant, progress. Yesterday, I met with the chief, and I met with the board from the Elks Lodge on Front Street, and it was very successful, and that was a big, accomplishment to get the two together. We are working. You may not, hear a whole lot. You may not see a whole lot, but we are working, and I want to thank everybody that's worked with Southeast and worked with me this year and CAC, and encourage you to continue to work with us. And I don't want to leave the city manager out. He did work, for a couple of sessions, and then he fell down on me. So I want to get him back up. So Joshua, I gave you a list, man, and you didn't complete your homework assignment. So I'm gonna have to give you a grade. So if you want a passing grade, you're gonna have to get up on the list, and we'll have to finish what we started.
Wait a second. Does this have anything to do with the Red Lobster? Because I already know I failed that test.
Well, we want to help you pass.
Yes.
Absolutely. But again, I think that, you should know that I appreciate the time that you put in and the effort that you put in this year. But I want a little bit more from you. I need to get some things done, and I need to be able to come up here and tell council that we did them. So I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for $500,000, but I am looking for some money. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Pat, by the way, thanks for showing up at the open house for 709 Central Avenue. I really appreciate that. We didn't have anybody from council that came, and the pastor did mention it to me, and I told him, I said, well, I think somebody will show up, and you did show up, so thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you for your leadership in improving the neighborhoods around here, okay? Thank you, Bob. That takes care of audience and citizens. We now go to the consent agenda. And that includes all staff reports, caucus reports, as well as a recommendation letter from Ross Township about the Butler County TID appointment, which is later on in our agenda. We're first going to go into the committee of the whole, which allows council to ask questions, provide direction, and comment on our various reports. Is there a motion to regular meeting be recessed and the committee of the whole take place?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. The time is 7:10. You want to lead us to the committee of the whole caucus agenda?
Yes, sir. Our first item will be presented by Ms. Tamika Hedrington. This is related to our annual action plan amendment for the fiscal year 2019.
Good evening. So we are here this evening to amend the city's Community Development Block Grant CD funds that were received in 2019. It is asked that council amends approximately $238,800 for public facilities projects and $81,516 for administration and expenses from CDBG-CV. Some of the public facilities costs are anticipated to go towards Living Waters Ministries for a new HVAC and air filtration system. It's pretty straightforward. I can't say it's not a lot of money that we are proposing the amendment of, but any questions?
Any questions? Great.
Okay.
Thanks for explaining that to us.
No problem.
Okay, coming up for items 2, which is related to a vacation of on-street parking, a amendment to some zoning over on the 800 and 900 block of North 2nd Street, Dayton Lane and North End rezoning, and a car wash conditional use approval will be Liz Hayden, our director of the planning department.
Good evening, City Council and residents of Hamilton. The first agenda item that you have from the planning department is it the vacation?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't have a slide.
Different slide.
So sorry. So the first one, it's really something you've already seen because the way we vacate right of way, you see it multiple times. It's the parking area in front of the Anthony Wayne. So I'm going to hop to the next one in case you have any questions. All right, the second one is a rezoning proposal for the area that you see on this map that's north of Black Street, across the street from the power plant. It's currently zoned residential, and we are proposing to rezone it to entertainment mixed-use plan development, which is what you see is the zoning around it. Our understanding is that it may have a future use as a parking lot or other use that would be not residential. And so therefore we are proposing to rezone it to something that would allow for a parking lot or other proposed use for this area. Residential is still permitted. There are still houses there that are being occupied, but just it allows a greater flexibility. Do you have any questions about this one?
Questions?
The second is another rezoning proposed for the Dayton Lane neighborhood and part of the North End neighborhood. And you see those two highlighted on the map here. And they're being proposed to the traditional neighborhood zoning districts that you've seen us, I think this is the third time this year, coming to propose rezoning neighborhoods to these zoning districts. So I'll just show you some maps. These are the current zoning of Dayton Lane. It's a mostly residential, but kind of a hybrid with business because of it. Dayton Lane's an interesting neighborhood where people have law offices on the first floor of the house and apartments on the second. So it's a dynamic neighborhood. And then this is the area of the North End. It's mostly zoned R3, which is a multifamily zoning, but also B2 business district on Heaton. And we are proposing a variety of traditional neighborhood zoning for both areas. So this is Dayton Lane, and this is that North End area. And we had, conversation at Planning Commission with residents. They all were notified, and there weren't any major issues or objections to the proposal. Do you have any questions about this one?
Good shake. Thank you.
The final one I'll spend a little bit more time on because it's a conditional use proposal that came to Planning Commission twice, and also, Planning Commission recommended denial both times. So I just wanted to give you a little background on this one. It's a proposed car wash in front of the Rural King. They came to Planning Commission in May with this proposal for an outlot. It's a car wash, and Planning Commission recommended denial. The conversation was largely, they cited 4 different criteria of why they recommended denial. For conditional use, a proposal needs to meet 9 different criteria, and Planning Commission said they did not meet 4 of the 9, and they were largely about being detrimental or not harmonious to adjacent uses, and the just general concern about the overall layout of the Rural King parking lot and how this would play into that existing condition. So the applicant came back and met with city staff, engineering and planning mostly, to amend their plan, and they came up with this plan that you see up here. The major differences are that they added another drive-through lane and added a spillover lane, and they moved some of the exterior storage on Rural King's lot and established a 2-way east-west route north of the site that is currently 1-way. The conversations that staff had with them at the time was that we really were recommending that they take a more holistic approach to the site, when not just make changes within the site, that engineering expressed concern about the 1-way nature of the parking lot and requested that they consider changing it to 2-way to make it safer. And the planning staff asked Rural King, because Rural King was part of the conversation, they own this whole property, if they would submit a plan for their outside storage that they would stick to. And neither of those things happened. In their plan, they kept with the proposal. They submitted this plan, and Planning Commission recommended denial on the same 4 criteria. Do you have any questions on this one?
Got a logistics question. If we concur on the recommendation, does it stop right then and there?
Yes.
Make sure we all understand that then.
Yes.
Any other questions at all?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So if we agree on that recommendation, you say it stops right there, they have no other location that they're interested in, or?
Not that I know of.
And I always go back to, I know they want to be on Main Street, and that's a whole other story with Brookwood, but there's a lot of room over at Brookwood. Do these people not want to go over there it does seem, I went there today, in fact, and looked at it. It just seems so, it's going to be so clustered over there. And regardless, I know Rural King agrees with it, but they lose a lot of parking. And if you get a busy day, any of these car washes, they're going to take up a lot more than that. And I think that's what you all are seeing. And I don't know why people don't go over to Brookwood Avenue. And maybe because they say a car wash won't work there, but look at the car wash across the street over by Al Joe's. That place is packed all the time. So I don't know. I was wondering if is there any way we can entertain that over there?
Absolutely. That we haven't had a lot of conversation about, we haven't had zero conversation with them about other sites, because when they came to us, the planning department, they had already found this location and submitted, and there wasn't conversation. But depending on the outcome tonight, we would be happy to connect them with our economic development department and talk locations.
Because didn't they also want to put their oil change shop in there?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there was going to be 2 things.
They're a large company.
Yes.
It's top 5, right?
Yes.
And so they're a large company, and they could do their oil change, and and they're nice locations. They're definitely nice locations for what I've seen. I looked them up again, but they're all over the country. But That would be a nice thing to put over there and have the oil change and the car wash in one place. There's no room definitely for it here, so.
Yes, they amended it, and that's a good point. They've amended it multiple times because they were trying to fit more on there originally, and then they took that off. But yeah, there could be other locations that have more space.
I just drive by Brookwood all the time, and it's just, that's a whole nother story.
Sure.
I just wish something was there, you know?
Sure.
It's just so empty looking over there. Thanks, Liz.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
aside from what they're trying to do, I walked it yesterday and stood and watched it a lot, and like, that whole area is a hot mess. Between, I mean, I don't know why there haven't been wrecks there. There's really no stop signs there, so you have Texas Roadhouse, and then you have the whole strip mall of Jimmy John's and all that. You got Taco Bell. You can't even get behind that building anymore because Rule King they've really closed in on some of the equipment they have, even trying, it just, separate from what they're trying to do, somebody really needs to look at that. Throw some stop signs, do something to organize that chaos a little bit.
That's one of the things we were hoping to do through this process was we were saying, this is a whole site, let's talk about the whole site because of those issues, and it just didn't
It's almost
happen
like
that way.
how we've tried to have a plan for Route 4 and all that. You really need to have a plan for that entire area, not just Rule King's parking lot. Something needs
Sure.
to be done with all of it.
Yes. I feel like Hamiltonians know that area very well and spend a lot of time, and it really is. People are in, it's a lot of cars in there all the time.
Thank you for presenting it.
Yeah. Any other questions for Liz about this one? Okay, thank you. You have the unnamed alley?
That's correct. So for item number 6, I'll be brief with this item. So this is a alley vacation petition for 2 unnamed portions of alleys. They're west of 123 Pershing Avenue and 122 Chestnut Street. Just for a short summary of these are both developed with poured concrete, but there are no known utilities within these alleys. The reasoning for this petition is related to the St. Paul Miracle Center campus expansion, which deals with a career center and a tech school as a part of that expansion. The recommendation within the caucus report will forward this application or for this petition to the Planning Commission for review, a public hearing, and a recommendation. So you will see this petition again in the near future. Do you have any questions on this item? For items number 7 and 8, we'll have Nate Perry. He'll be discussing our amendment to Schedule A for our Business Services Department, as well as a assignment and assumption agreement with 2 other jurisdictions.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. First item is some position classifications that we're asking for changes to. We have some pending retirements and a vacant position that's open. And with that, we're taking a look at the organization as a whole and how do we best serve our mission. So we're recommending eliminating those 2 positions and creating an assistant director to help oversee customer service and all of our financial planning for our utilities. And then elevating the responsibility of our 3 supervisors in customer service. Marie Hibbard, who's retiring in January, has been a valuable asset to this community for over 26 years, and she's done a great job of training and supporting her team. So this will help us kind of flatline the management structure in the organization and continue to cross-train and develop our staff.
Any questions for Mr. Perry? Okay.
The second item that we have before you is an assignment and assumption agreement between the city and 3 other communities, the city of Huron and the villages of Jackson Center and Holiday City. So this is for our Fremont Energy Center project. This has been before you guys, I believe, in 2019 and 2020. We have some excess in our generation portfolio to serve our customers' electricity. These communities are current participants in the AMP Fremont Energy Project, which is a natural gas combined cycle project. They are wanting to take on about 1.5 megawatts of our 11.5 megawatts of that project. So this will just reassign our shares to their shares. It'll reduce how much energy we receive from that project. But what that does for our community is that's less energy, excess energy that we have. So we're able to slowly try to balance our power supply portfolio with the needs of our customers today, which helps us keep costs low to our customers for the long term.
That's smart for us and good for these other jurisdictions.
Absolutely. They have some load growth in their communities that will help, this will help support them, and it'll help us get closer to matching the needs of our community today.
Okay. Questions on this one? Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up for item number 9, we'll have Edwin Porter, our Director of Infrastructure, talking about sewer rates and wastewater rates.
Good evening, Mayor Mueller, members of council, citizens of Hamilton. My name is Edwin Porter. I'm the Executive Director of Infrastructure for the city. Here today to talk to you about proposed water and wastewater, also known as sewer rate increases over the next 5 years. Gotcha. Daniel's pulling up the presentation now. Okay, so at a high level, what these rates would support for water, the top 3 items would be capital water main replacement, especially considering the need to replace water mains underneath of roadways that we intend on improving as a part of the street levy funding. Number 2 would be capital improvements necessary at our 2 water production facilities. We have a south water treatment plant and a north water treatment plant. And number 3 would be to support operation and maintenance increases that are due to market conditions, CPI increases. So for example, the cost of lime, so that's the major chemical that we utilize in the process treatment system, that's anticipated to increase 13% from 2022 to 2023. And then for wastewater, also known as sewer, it would be defining, designing, and implementing capital improvements at the water reclamation facility, as well as a remote package plant that serves Heathwood Lane currently. And in addition to that, capital replacement and lining of our sanitary collection system to support reliable operation and reduce inflow and infiltration, and additionally to support increased operations and maintenance expenses that we're realizing due to market conditions. So an example of that is the cost of polymer has increased 25% from last year to this year alone. And polymer is a major chemical we utilize in our dewatering process. In addition, these proposed rate changes will contribute to increased reliability and safety of these essential utilities for this community. Okay, so speaking of water mains, so to just kind of put it in perspective, there's about 300 miles of pipe in the city of Hamilton, and this is a water main. Consists of cast iron, ductile iron, high density polyethylene, and minor amounts of steel and concrete. So those are listed in order of the majority in the system as opposed to lesser amounts. The majority of the system is cast iron pipe, which totals 181 miles. Of that 181 miles, 92 miles was installed before 1930. As the cast iron pipes continue to age, they degrade over time, and the average life expectancy of cast iron pipe is approximately 75 years. That's something that's kind of hard to put a number to because in actuality, cast iron pipe that was built before World War II lasts longer than cast iron pipe that was built after World War II due to changes in the metallurgy and availability of materials. And it also is essentially, in order to say whether something is, reach its life expectancy or not, it's whether or not it's matching, number of line breaks per miles per year. So it's essentially how many breakages, and so that's how you estimate the life expectancy. And also the system is experiencing failures in the high-density polyethylene pipe. So for example, in the Ross Hill neighborhood, which includes Terry Court, Terry Lane, Wildwood, Ross Hill, over the past 24 months, there's been 26 independent water main breaks in that area alone. Okay, so what will the rates support if passed. So debt service for annual water main replacement program, we've already talked about this briefly. The plan is to fund through the Ohio Public Works Commission, that's 30-year 0% interest loan program. And starting in 2026, additional revenues from Butler County Water Contract will decrease the need to borrow and provide additional availability to support capital out of those revenues. It'll support annual distribution system improvements, so our own Public Works crews, they implement capital improvements to our system, valves, meters, hydrants, equipment, and also annual treatment plant improvements. So these are treatment plant improvements, so you're thinking of roofs, filters, cathodic protection, spent lime removal, items such as that. And to be clear, efforts to secure grant funding for all of these initiatives will continue. So in addition to rates supporting these items, we'll continue to seek grant funding through the bipartisan infrastructure law, through the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, and other grant opportunities such as OPWC. In addition, it'll support debt issuances for water capital improvements, which will need to be completed prior to 2026. This includes the Hamilton Enterprise Park elevated water storage tank. That's necessary to support the existing users as well as to support economic development in the Hamilton Enterprise Park, as well as plant improvements, some of which are necessary to serve the county in 2026. So these are large capital items such as clear wall storage, hot water HVAC systems, booster stations, et cetera. Okay, so again, why is rate adjustment needed? So moving on to the wastewater side, support annual water capital improvements necessary. So if you think of the plant, there's plant improvements, belt filter presses, boilers, sludge, conveyance system, polymer systems. The last major capital investment in the water reclamation facility was executed in 2001. And now we're reaching 20-year lifespan of the equipment, so we're reaching end of life of some of those major components of that equipment. Also to replace the Heathwood package plant that we already discussed. Also support continued investment in the wastewater collection system, which we already discussed as well. Okay, Nate, do you want to talk a little bit about the agency rating considerations?
Yeah, so part of our, as we meet every year with Moody's and S&P and different rating agencies, one of their considerations and concerns is that we have appropriate rates in place to support the financial capital needs of the system, but also support our outstanding debt issuances and future needs of the system. So this rate plan will help us continue to support all of the capital in place and ensure that our financials are healthy to do that. Yeah, great. And in addition, we already discussed both utilities are seeing the effects of inflation. So this is increased cost of materials, chemical supplies, services, everything, the business of our business is increasing around us. So a couple of visuals here. You'll see this is the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics Consumer Pricing Index. So you'll see that something I didn't know is that the cost of eggs from what it says June of 2021 to June of 2022 has increased 78.8%. Not necessarily relevant, but interesting. But what you will see that's relevant is you see gasoline has increased 44.4%. Utility gas prices has increased 31%. Electricity has increased 16%. So these are essentially various items that have increased. Something to note for our own community and our own residents and businesses, our gas prices have not increased over that time period. According to this is the nation as a whole. We in fact have had stable, flat gas prices over this period of time due to long-term contracts that Nate and Jim Logan put into place and was sponsored by this council, as well as you'll see the electricity per kilowatt hour, 16.1%. In fact, over the past couple of years, our electric rates have actually decreased over that time period, and that's due to market conditions which have been beneficial to our electric system, and we've been able to actually minorly decrease our electric rates. But it does, in fact, all of these price increases does affect our materials and supplies necessary for our water and wastewater operations and work. So this is also from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So this shows average annual inflation over the past 20 years.
You'll notice if you kind of drew a line through the center there, it's about 3.5% annually. And you'll see from August of 2020, it went from 0% all the way up to today, which is approximately 9%. So substantial increases in inflation. Okay, but what have we been doing to try to control costs during this time period? So as costs increase, how are we trying to control costs? I think it's important to note that there has not been a water increase in rates since January 1 of 2019, and there's not been a wastewater rate increase since July 1 of 2020. Our teams have been focusing on process excellence. So as we can make sure that our processes are efficient and streamlined, we can reduce chemical costs, chemical consumption, and minimize the resources necessary to do our work. We've been proactively maintaining and inspecting our equipment to extend the life of our assets, strategically identifying water mains for replacement that are leaking. So essentially, if there's large leaks, of course, that's additional water we have to produce, which is unbilled. So we've been trying to identify and resolve those. We created a mobile maintenance crew, so every one of our plants has additional needs for maintenance items. But instead of trying to hire additional full-time employees at all of those places, we hired a mobile crew that goes around and helps to supplement their maintenance needs as necessary. And that team also tackles capital projects as well, which reduces our necessity to pay contractors to execute that work. So that's cost savings. We studied the potential to use excess capacity at our water reclamation facility to support anaerobic digestion. So this was quite a large study. At the end, it didn't. The present worth analysis did not support making that financially beneficial to our system. But it's important to note that we're looking at innovative solutions, and being opportunistic where we have additional capacity within our system. And also, we're trying to diversify our revenue stream, including growing through economic development and increasing our water supply to Butler County, which will be done in 2026. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Nate to talk a little bit about cost of service and rate plan goals.
So for over the last couple years, we've been looking at the revenue requirements and cost of service for each of the system. And so in doing that, we're looking to make sure we meet all of our financial targets. We're projecting customer growth. We want to move towards the cost of service. We don't want to have large increases in rates all at one time, but make sure that our rates fairly and equitably charge rates to different users of customers. So residents and commercials, just really making sure that those rates are equitable. We want to compare our rates to neighboring utilities, which we're going to walk through, and really make sure that we're supporting the capital needs that our teams have to support the system. So this is a list of assumptions, and I won't go through all of these, but generally we're using our 2021 revenue requirements or expenses. We're projecting flat sales in our residential and commercial classes. So sales over the last 5 to 6 years have been relatively stable, not really increasing. However, we have some large users with SECA and the sports complex coming online, so we're including that growth and increased revenue into the model. We're assuming 3% inflation, the effects of the capital and debt issuance that Edwin has talked about, and again, making sure that we're meeting all of our debt service coverage requirements, our fund balance targets. And we're going to continue throughout this whole plan to pursue these low interest loans, which carry less of a financial burden to our utilities, and grants as we can, some of which are later on this agenda for you tonight. So again, we haven't had a rate increase in water in 4 years and wastewater in 2.5 years. We're proposing a 5-year rate plan that's 8% in the first 3 years for water and 4% in the last 2 years, and 5% in the first 3 years for wastewater and 9% in the last 2 years. These aren't additive, so the next slide here, this is really the financial impact for the customers. So the average residential customer, we see about a $4.19 per month increase over the 5-year period, and that amounts to about a 6% increase on their total bill, or sorry, not their total bill, their water and wastewater bill. And then our top 25 customers we've taken a look at them individually. Over this last year, our key accounts program, Mike Goer, who runs that, is meeting with our customers. We've put some of these projections in there to communicate that with them, noting that this hasn't been passed by council, but we're getting ahead of that to talk to our customers that these increases are coming. Keep in mind, water and wastewater are a relatively small portion of our large customers' total bills. Most of them are concerned about electric and gas, as they're just dollar-wise a lot bigger, a lot greater. So overall, that with where we're at today on all of our other rates, that $419 per month is about a 1.7% increase in the total bill for our average residential customer.
Thank you. Okay, so to measure ourselves against neighboring communities, both local and within the Southwest region, there's something that's referred to commonly as the Oakwood Survey. It's actually done now by the city of Piqua, but everyone knows it as the Oakwood Survey. And what it does is it compares all of the water, wastewater, and combined rates for communities. So we selected, out of the 64 communities which are represented in the Oakwood Survey, we selected ones that are, close in proximity to us. So for water rates, you can see where we stand amongst Middletown, Fairfield, Dayton, Butler County, Mason, Milford, Lebanon. And out of 64 communities, we're ranked number 12 if you rank them from the lowest rates to the highest rates. Wastewater rates, you can see where we compare with our neighboring communities, and we're ranked 37 of 64 when comparing from the lowest rates to the highest rates. And then if you combine those in totality, we're ranked 26 of 64 when ranked from lowest to highest. So I think it's important to understand how we rate amongst our peers, but also to understand the uniqueness of each one of these systems. I mean, everyone knows, Hamilton was founded in 1791, so we have a proud, longstanding history, and we've developed significantly sooner than the majority of the communities are listed. So it's quite unfair to compare ourselves one for one to these communities, because our infrastructure is older and more established than the neighboring communities. But it is important that we look to them and we understand where we stand against other local municipalities. So with that being said, the proposed adoption timeline would be today's September 14th. I'll note that this same presentation was presented to the Public Utilities Commission today. It was slightly different than what we presented today, but essentially the same, and it passed with unanimous support from the Public Utilities Commission. All members were present. We intend on releasing a rate increase press release to talk about the proposed rate increases, and also caucus reading tonight, of course. On October the 12th will be the first reading, so not next council meeting, but the one following. And then the second reading would be on October the 26th. So at that time, it would be voted upon on the 26th as the plan. And if approved, the timeline would be to implement the rate changes and make them effective on January 1 of 2023. So that's the entirety of this presentation. I'll open up the floor to any questions that council may have.
Mr. Mayor, yes, please.
Edwin and Nate, thank you. This was a great presentation. Appreciate everything you guys are doing. Just being on OMEA, I know how hard you guys are working and how hard your department and crews are, so appreciate everything you're doing. With these rates, Edwin and Nate, you guys did highlight something that I think is key. Your due diligence to find every available dollar from every grant from the federal government on down. I think that's due diligence. The residents definitely want to see that. I know I want to see that, so thank you. And even tonight, we're getting ready to vote on some, grant applications, so that's huge. I hope we continue to be aggressive in that, and like I said, take advantage of everything we can to help offset a potential rate increase. Secondly, I'm not sure where we're at with the ARPA buckets yet. I know we have a bucket for utilities. Do we have anything left over that we just haven't placed yet in a, you know, that we might be able to use to help offset some of these increases or capital projects that are being highlighted?
So we did do that already. We put, I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it was close to $3 million in, that helped cover the Corwin Avenue project. It was very utility heavy. I know stormwater was about 2.2 million.
That's right.
Water was at 900,000, 835,000.
Okay.
And the rest of it right now is dedicated to public safety, new facilities for police and fire both. The one thing though, I think you're sort of heading this direction. The one advantage of owning all your utilities and getting a single bill, you have a very easy snapshot of what you're paying for all your utilities. We talked earlier about divesting some of our Fremont Energy Center, AFEC, to some other communities. Is there any scenario in your mind by the end of the year that we can rebalance? If we can, we've done a great job on keeping our natural gas rates very low compared to many other entities. Is there anything we can do on the electric side, since we're selling less into the secondary market, that might be able to help us on that front? To maybe we can, so the overall increase to our average resident is closer to zero? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there for feedback.
Sure. I mean, I think that we continue to do, attack it from multiple fronts. So, in addition to, divesting of assets such as AFEC, we're also increasing the load within Hamilton, the electric load, and so currently we're using about 5 megawatts, our top electric customer, which has really grown in the past 1 year. So that's substantial electric growth for our system, and that electric growth will in turn benefit our electric system. So I think we continue to implement strategic benefits to our electric system, but of course the electric rate plan is independent of these rate plans as well, and that's been established several years ago. I'm not sure of the date in which that rate plan was put into place, but in 2019.
Could I add to that just a little?
Please.
We recently, AMP, American Municipal Power, has reached out to all of our members and asking for a load rebalancing if we have assets that we would like to take more of or give away some. So we submitted a notice of that on August 31st, like a non-binding, hey, we would be interested in getting rid of this much megawatts of other projects. So we should hear back from that within this year of other interested parties that are willing to take on some of our length. So I don't have an answer on that today, but we are actively pursuing that and meeting with other members that we know have shortfalls that potentially would be willing to take on some of them.
Nate, in that same vein, since we have a long position on generation through either what we generate or through take-or-pay contracts, as we sell into the secondary market, what is the delta between what we're putting into the secondary market and what they're actually paying for that power?
Well, it's a great question. The market has been kind of unpredictable today with some changes at the federal level. The price of power has been significantly higher than we've seen in the past. So while what we were selling to in the market since, I would say for the last, until the end of last year and into this year, would be less than what we were generating for. We're certainly getting more of a premium for it right now, but I don't anticipate that, and not just me, but the forward-looking markets are anticipating that to go on forever.
Okay.
So yes, we are taking advantage of that today and making short-term sales within our rights, or within our codified ordinance ability, so to lower our cost. We don't anticipate that to happen for the future. So these divestitures will help us overall lower our cost.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it'd be great if through grants or increased usage, we'd be able to maybe freeze or delay an increase sometime during that 5-month time frame. But I know you folks are sharpening your pencils and just looking at things as they need to be looked at, especially with the replacements and all underground. So
That's a really great point. Oh, excuse me.
No, I said thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I echo what others on council have expressed, is the diligence that you've shown us tonight in the opportunity to be somewhat cost neutral, whether we're selling off opportunities for other municipalities and other agencies to purchase power, but also importantly to be able to equalize out, as you showed us in the chart, where we are in relation to other communities that are in the southwest Ohio area and what they're paying for utility. It's important to know that we're way in the middle of that ranking and things, but also that electric, gas, and water, wastewater, as Joshua said, everything's a snapshot, and you pointed that out for our utility customers, that they can see rate stabilization in one area while the other, or a drop in the other area may take a lift, where we haven't had a lift since 2019. So again, cost of business, as you had pointed out, cost of what we're doing in the city, cost of what we are all experiencing. When you share that, just somewhat relative, but the cost of eggs, or the cost of gasoline, and other things that we're all using daily in our personal lives or in our business lives and things. So thank you for sharing all this information tonight for us to be able to take some action on.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for the presentation and sending it to all of us.
Of course, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, Daniel, I guess you'll introduce it.
Oh, sure. So this is for item number 11. It's related to a grant or loan application for the Ohio EPA wastewater infrastructure capital improvements.
Thank you. So as mentioned previously, we will continue to pursue grant opportunities. So this is an application, a request to be approved to apply for grant opportunities for capital projects at our water reclamation facility. These projects include our belt filter presses, which is our, essentially it's our biosolids dewatering system. So we're requesting funds to design and to implement a project to support that. I'm sorry, I misplaced my notes on this one. We have 5 total projects that we're seeking grant funding for. All of them are at the water reclamation facility. It includes our belt filter presses. It includes our gravity thickening systems. It includes HVAC improvements, and so 5 independent projects, and we're just seeking for approval to apply for grant funding for those projects. Any questions on that? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then number 12, it's for the waiving of advertising for pump number 3, which is an influent pump station at our water reclamation facility.
Okay. So at the water reclamation facility, there's an influent pump station, which essentially the entire system gravity feeds down to a low point in the plant, and there's 3 pumps that pump it up. The 3 pumps, one of them is a smaller pump. It's about 8 million gallons per day, and the larger pumps are about 12 million gallons per day. And the way that they're supposed to work is the smaller pump should work the majority of the time because it's more efficient to utilize. And then when we have more inflow, then we kick on the 2 larger pumps. That pump has historically experienced substantial problems with vibration, substantial problems with breaking down, substantial problems with the motor. And we actually worked with a specialty engineering company who came in and did engineering vibration analysis. They did a high-level finite element analysis to really understand what the issues are with the pump. They've identified several issues with installation, but also several issues with the design of the pump itself. And so they have teamed up with another company called Process Pump Solutions, and they've actually rebuilt pump number 1 and pump number 2 are 2 larger pumps. And so due to the specialized knowledge of the engineering firm who completed the analysis, as well as the construction firm who have taken out our pumps and reconditioned them, we're requesting a waiver of advertising, and we would like to award the replacement project for this pump to these two individual groups because of their specialized knowledge. And so that's what's before you for consideration. Any questions on that?
You?
Good. All right.
So
Thank you.
I apologize if it seems a bit out of order. I figured if Edwin was at the podium, just cover his items. So I have two items from our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Scott Scramizzi. The first is related to amending the pay range for the classification of our corrections officer manager, as well as authorizing the trade of surplus personal property, which in this case is a fire engine, for tuition.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Scott Scramizzi, Executive Director of Public Safety. As Daniel said, the first one is a request to move the corrections manager from pay range 40 to 44. Currently, this is a salaried position in Schedule A. All the folks that work for him are in the FOP bargaining unit, and so he's supervising people that make more than he does. So this adjustment in the schedule would bring him slightly above those folks that he's supervising.
Questions? Thank you.
The next one is a request to trade surplus equipment. We have as you know, we bought 2 new fire engines this year. We have a engine that we're taking out of service. It's a 2003 Sutphen that we'd like to trade to Butler Tech in exchange for $40,000 of tuition cost. So if you remember in this contract with the IAFF, we allowed people to come on the job without the certifications of being paramedics, and we would send them to school. So this $40,000 will help defer our cost sending our new members to school.
And how much does that cost? How far would 40,000?
So I think if you came in with no certifications at all and you made it through the paramedic certification, I believe that's $10,000. A lot of the people that we're seeing in this last group that we hired, 2 are actually in paramedic school. Several have their fire 1 and 2, but this has been a great thing. I mean, we quadrupled our applicant pool.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Last item, I know it's been a long caucus agenda, but this is going to be a presentation by our Finance Director, Dave Jones, related to a bunch of different kinds of agreements in relation to our Champion Mill redevelopment project.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, citizens of Hamilton. As Daniel said, this is an amendment to a lot of agreements related to the Champion Mill redevelopment project. However, it simply comes down to it's a reallocation of loan proceeds. It is not, and it's important to note, it is not an increase to the original loan from March of 2020. We are not going out to borrow any more money. The money has been in the bank since March of 2020. The capital stacks or financing for Spooky Nook was very complex, and they were built by mill. And council authorization is required to shift money from one mill to the next. So that's what we're here to do tonight. All the same interest rates will be in effect. You can see them up there. We will be paying the 3.295%, and I sure wish I could get that rate today. All guarantees, including the developer's personal completion guarantee, will be in place. So nothing's changing. It's simply reallocating money from Mill 1 to Mill 2. The net amount's $1,264,000. Any questions on that one?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more reports, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll set the motion that the committee of the whole be closed at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried at 7:59. I'll accept the motion that the regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Pullman, seconded by Councilmember Fear. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
I'll set the motion that with the exception of there weren't any items noted, the council receive the reports of the consent agenda and concur in their recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Fear. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. I'll accept the motion regarding legislative items.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman,
make a motion. I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
Second.
Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We now go to pending legislation, agenda item number 15. Second reading of an ordinance involving low speed for hire vehicles.
An ordinance amending and supplementing the codified ordinances of the City of Hamilton, Ohio by amending Part 3 Traffic Code, Title 5 Vehicles by adding Chapter 349 Low Speed for Hire Vehicles relative to authorizing and regulating low speed for hire vehicles in the City of Hamilton, Ohio. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Councilmember Nab, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 16, second reading of an ordinance involving our City of Hamilton zoning ordinances.
An ordinance amending sections of the City of Hamilton zoning ordinance section 1250 zoning land use chart, section 1300 conditional uses, section 1400 accessory uses, section 1600 off-street parking and loading regulations, section 1700 signs, section 1800 residential design standards, section 1900 commercial design standards, section 2000 district purpose statements, section 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014 traditional neighborhood zoning districts, TN1, TN2, TN3, TN4, section 3900 glossary, section 4100 Board of Zoning Appeals, section 4400 amendments, and section 4500 fee schedule pertaining to the first round of 2022 zoning text amendments, City of Hamilton applicant, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Ryan.
I move that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Pullman. Comments on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
And we go to agenda item number 17, second reading of an ordinance involving Mayville Avenue corridor plan.
An ordinance approving the major amendment to Plan Hamilton, the city's comprehensive plan, adding the Maple Avenue corridor redevelopment plan to the comprehensive plan, City of Hamilton applicant, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember
I
Nab.
move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
By Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Fear. Comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 18.
An emergency ordinance affirming the designation of the Community Improvement Corporation of Hamilton, Ohio as the city's agency for development in the city and authorizing a grant in the amount not to exceed $270,000 to be made to the Community Improvement Corporation of Hamilton, Ohio for public purposes and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 19, second reading of an ordinance involving certain real property on Knightsbridge Drive.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement and related actions related to certain real property located at 101 Knightsbridge Drive, parcel number P6461003000001, Vora Technology Park LLC, property owner, City of Hamilton, purchaser, second reading.
Mayor. Vice Mayor Ryan.
Move that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Nab. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Can we now go to new legislation? This next one, we tabled at the last meeting, so we need to take this off the table. Is there a motion that we take this particular resolution describing number 20 off the table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Fear. Is that gonna be roll call, or is that gonna be by voice vote?
Voice vote is fine.
Okay, all in favor to, take it off the table, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. So now it's back in front of us again. You wanna read it into the record, please?
Absolutely. A resolution of intent to appropriate a fee simple interest in 8 parcels of real property located at the northwest corner of the intersection of South 7th Street and Hanover Street in the city of Hamilton for the public purpose of constructing parking improvements, serving municipal police and municipal court facilities, criminal justice campus.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Ryan,
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Nab. Discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
To the agenda item number 21, 2 readings of emergency ordinance involving the nuisance appeals board.
An emergency ordinance amending section 543.05, appeals of the codified ordinances of the city of Hamilton, Ohio, relative to correcting the codified ordinance's reference for the nuisance appeals board, first reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion made Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Any comments on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Second reading of that emergency ordinance, please.
An emergency ordinance amending section 543.05, appeals of the codified ordinances of the city of Hamilton, Ohio, relative to correcting the codified ordinance reference for the nuisance appeals board, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion made Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Comments or discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Thank you. We now go to agenda item number 22, emergency ordinance involving Taylorsville Road.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax street improvement bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $2,500,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of capital improvements and to and for benefit of Taylorsville Road, located within the city, authorizing a certificate of award, a note purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Knapp.
I move that the ordinance be adopted.
Councilmember Knapp, who said that?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Second.
What,
Motion by Councilmember Knapp, second by Councilmember Fear.
Mayor, this is 2 readings. That was the first reading. We need 1 more reading, so the motion should be to suspend the rules and have it read a second time by its title.
So moved, thank you.
Okay, so that motion is by Councilmember Knapp, seconded by Councilmember Fear.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion to suspend the rules is what we're voting on. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, vote.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Second reading of the emergency ordinance, please.
I know he was watching out for me. He didn't want me to read it. Okay. An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sales of general obligation limited tax street improvement bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $2,500,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of capital improvements and for the benefit of Taylorsville Road, located within the city, authorizing a certificate award and note purchase agreement and the continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
now I will approve the ordinance be adopted.
And I will second that.
Mr. Councilmember Knapp, second by Councilmember Fear. Discussion? None. Roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Now go to agenda item number 23, 2 readings of emergency ordinance involving Justice Center bond notes. No, I'm fine.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax Justice Center bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $30,500,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of the acquisition, construction, improvement, and equipping of a city criminal justice complex and related improvements located within the city, authorizing a certificate of the award, a note of purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Roll call vote on that, please.
Moeller.
Yes?
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Second reading of that emergency ordinance, please.
Sure. An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax Justice Center bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $30,500,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of the acquisition, construction, improvement, for the purpose and equipping of the criminal justice complex and related improvements located within the city, authorizing a certificate of award and a note purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Comments on this one? Hearing none. Roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 24. Two readings of emergency ordinance involving the wastewater system notes.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax wastewater system bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $3,300,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of certain capital improvements to the city's wastewater utility system, including without limitation replacement of obsolete sewer infrastructure and manholes, authorizing a certificate of award, a note purchase agreement, and a continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor Ryan.
I move that the rules be suspended and the said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Fear. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Moeller.
Yes?
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Second reading of that emergency ordinance, please.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax wastewater system bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $3,300,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of certain capital improvements to the city's wastewater utility system, including without limitation replacement of obsolete sewer infrastructure and manholes, authorizing a certificate of award, a note purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor Ryan.
I move that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Fear. Any comments? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Moeller.
Yes?
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 25, which is two readings of emergency ordinance involving stormwater system bans.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax stormwater system bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $3,700,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of certain capital improvements to the city's stormwater utility system, authorizing a certificate of award, a note purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate authorizing the preparation and delivery of an official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Okay, second reading of that emergency ordinance, please.
An emergency ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation limited tax stormwater system bond anticipation notes, Series 2022, in the principal amount of not to exceed $3,700,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of financing costs of certain capital improvements to the city's stormwater utility system, authorizing a certificate of award, a note purchase agreement, and continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the preparation and delivery of a official statement or similar disclosure document, and authorizing other actions in connection with the issuance of such notes, and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 26, two readings of emergency ordinance involving the consolidation of those 4 note issues.
An emergency ordinance consolidating up to 4 note issues, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $40 million of notes by the city of Hamilton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Pullman. Roll call vote on that motion.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Second reading of that emergency ordinance.
An emergency ordinance consolidating up to 4 note issues, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $40 million of notes by the city of Hamilton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember
I
Nab.
move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Pullman. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote on that one.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 27, first reading of an ordinance involving real property.
An ordinance declaring the improvement to An ordinance declaring the improvement to certain parcel for real property within the city to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation pursuant to ORC section 5709.41, providing for the collection and deposit of service payments, specifying the purposes for which those service payments may be expanded, and authorizing school compensation payments. First reading.
Thank you. We now go to agenda item number 28, first reading of an ordinance involving our replacement pages.
An ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting the 2022 replacement pages to the codified ordinances of Hamilton, Ohio, 1998, and repealing matters in conflict therewith.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 29, first reading of an ordinance involving Safe Avenue.
An ordinance vacating a portion of right-of-way, Safe Avenue, located between Edison Avenue and Crawford Avenue, situated in the 5th Ward, South Side, City of Hamilton, Ohio. City of Hamilton applicant. First reading.
Thank you. Agenda item number 30 is a resolution involving a mutual police aid agreement.
A resolution authorizing and directing the city manager to execute an intra-county mutual police aid agreement amongst political subdivisions and governmental units within Butler County, Ohio.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Lauer. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Agenda item number 31 is a resolution involving 850 Associates, LLC.
A resolution authorizing and directing the execution of an enterprise zone agreement with 850 Associates, LLC, relative to real property tax abatement.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
Make a motion that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 32, which is a resolution involving our water main replacement project.
A resolution authorizing and directing the filing of a loan application with the Ohio Public Works Commission relative to funding for the 2023 program year 37 Williams Avenue Water Main Replacement Project and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all documents necessary to accept and receive said loan funds.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear,
I move the resolution be adopted.
second. By Councilmember Fear, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Any comments on this one? None, roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 33, which is a resolution involving the Millville Avenue Water Main Replacement Project.
A resolution authorizing and directing the filing of a loan application with the Ohio Public Works Commission relative to funding the 2023 Project Year 37 Millville Avenue Water Main Replacement Project and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all documents necessary to accept and receive said loan funds.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Ryan.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Ryan, second by Councilmember Pullman. Any comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Okay, we go to agenda item number 34, which is a resolution involving loan application, Public Works Commission.
A resolution authorizing and directing the filing of a loan application with the Ohio Public Works Commission relative to funding for the 2023 Project Year 37 Terry Court, Terry Lane, Wildwood Court, Roast Hill Drive Water Main Replacement Project, and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all documents necessary to accept and receive said loan funds.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Nab. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 35, resolution involving some Hamilton Road improvements.
A resolution authorizing, directing, and supporting the filing of a grant application for the Ohio Public Works Commission for the 2023 Program Year 37 Hamilton Road Improvement Project and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all documents necessary to accept and receive said grant funds.
Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor Ryan.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Ryan with some kind of a disturbance, but seconded by Councilmember Nab.
Bubbles or something.
Those weren't my words.
Oh, okay. All right, any discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote on 35.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 36, resolution involving the Well House Hotel.
A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to sign a letter supporting the state historic tax credit application for the Well House Hotel.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember
I
Nab.
move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Made by Councilmember Nab, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Questions or comments on this one?
Mr. Mayor, I think this is just outstanding, and the opportunity that we are experiencing here in Hamilton for another opportunity to expand our hotel places, whether it's the Nook, whether it's the Marriott, or our new hotel joining us here in Hamilton. Just an exciting time for our city.
It really is, and repurposing some old buildings and all. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Good. Agenda item number 37, and it is a motion involving an appointment to the Butler County Transportation Improvement District.
Would you like me to read that into the record, Mr. Mayor? Or?
Yes.
Okay. To appoint Lori W. Kyle to serve on the Board of Trustees of the Butler County Transportation Improvement District for the remainder of Robert Bass's term commencing January 14th, 2021 and terminating December 31st, 2022.
I think we've all seen a letter of recommendation on this and know who she is. Is there a motion on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab?
I make the motion that Ms. Kyle be appointed to the Board of Trustees of the Butler County Transportation Improvement District.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Pullman. If there's no further discussion, we can do a roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Audience to the city manager?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, I think you told us all earlier in the week that you've been here 12 years now, is that correct?
That is correct.
Does anybody want to comment on that at all?
Is this a Red Lobster thing?
It might turn into a Red Lobster thing.
I don't know.
Anybody have any kind of comments at all? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Joshua.
Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here for the last 12 years, and as I told City Council in an email, I certainly do not take this position for granted, and I believe we've made some progress in my 12 years here, but I truly believe our best years are still ahead of us, and we have a lot of exciting things to be looking forward to. So thank you very much for all the support.
I'd like to have everybody grab a water if they could at this time, because with the best tasting water in the world, I'd like to make a toast to the best city manager in the world, to Joshua.
Joshua.
Thank you.
cheers.
Thank you very much. You gonna play some noises for me?
Bubble noises, whatever that was.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
and I'd also like to thank the staff that he's put together.
Yes.
I mean, it's everybody working together, and we all appreciate so much what you do and how you're open with us, and just, it's a team effort, and we are aware of that.
Joshua, I think back to when we were all able to gather at former City Hall and just kindly thank the entire team and the little awards that we were given, just a token, as Carla said, of our appreciation in all the things that staff has accomplished, heads up and working 24/7 pretty much at the time and things like that. So thank you, and thanks to everybody in your team.
I think that's a great comment. I actually had a coffee meeting this morning with the new CEO of Primary Health Solutions, Stephen Roller, and we talked about that. We said, it doesn't matter how good or bad one person is, it's the team that you build that will tell you if you're going to be successful or not. And I think that we absolutely have a world-class team at the City of Hamilton.
Yes.
Agree.
All right.
Is Rich Engel still here?
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Let me revise my comments, but
Mr. Mayor, I would like
Yeah,
to.
please.
USA Boxing is having another event this Saturday at 190 Brookwood. Imhoff Boxing is putting that on. It's a great event. It's great for our young people. I would hope that a lot of people in Hamilton would attend.
What time is that on Saturday?
It's doors open at 6 and it starts at 7.
Okay. Any other statements anybody wants to make?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Last Friday was the Inspiration Studios, aka Inside Out, which I support a lot of because my son's one of the artists there. And they had a very successful second-year golf outing. I got to play with the mayor and Joshua Smith and your dad, Bill, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. And it was all Team Smith. Mayor kicked in a lot, and I need a lot of lessons. So, but it was for a good cause. It was pretty much a sold-out golf outing, and I appreciate you guys coming out to golf too. And so, my son was wore out. He played with Neil Cohen, and he was wore out after 18 holes, but they had a lot of fun. So, good cause. Raised some good money for a great program that we have here in Hamilton for our adults with developmental disabilities.
Well run event.
Very well run. Beautiful day too.
Anybody else? Okay. Just want to say this morning there were Safety Council Awards. Hamilton Police Department won a Workplace Safety Award. So a lot of good training and all makes that very noteworthy, I believe. Request for executive session.
Yes, Mayor, for this evening, there are 3 different topics for executive session. The first is to consider confidential information related to specific business strategy of an applicant for economic development assistance. The second is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. And the third is to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes to public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
I'd like to add briefly to consider number 2, the appointment, promotion, compensation, and the like of a public employee or official.
Absolutely.
Okay, regarding the request number 1, is there a motion that the executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant, possible investment or expenditure of public funds made in connection with an economic development project?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Okay, that's adopted at 8:30. For the other items, is there a motion we go into executive session for those other stated items by the city manager?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Vice Mayor Ryan, that we go into executive session for all the matters, including the other 3 additional ones. Roll call vote on that, please.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Okay, it's 8:30, we're gonna go into executive session. Is that gonna be downstairs here?
Yes, sir.